As many people have observed, it seems that the console race, with more and more generations, is getting closer and closer to a PC.
That's very true.
With the PS3, you can actually install Windows on it. At one point, Linux, before they patched that out. So the latest contribution to this amazing race of gaming hardware, we're now going to have a PC try to be a console.
I think there's a lot of skepticism that would derive from trying to turn a machine that can do many things into a console that's supposed to only do a few things. Or really just one thing, which is play games. Everything else is kind of a neat bonus.
But isn't that why you essentially buy them? I mean, you buy a camera to take pictures, you buy a cell phone. Well, I used to buy a cell phone to call people, but...
Have you noticed that? Like, every single time I try to call somebody now, I either get voicemail or nothing. I've actually yet to phone someone this past year and have them answer the phone.
Yeah. Oh, God. I've had people send me messages through websites while I'm out on the go. It's like, hey, why didn't you get my message? Because my phone doesn't have the internet on it, because I didn't want a phone that has the internet on it. But anyways, we're talking about the Valve box.
Actually, I do want to say one thing. Facebook, I don't appreciate the seen message option whenever you send somebody a message. Sometimes I want to read it and then think about it. Anyways, yes, we are talking about the SteamBox. Today's topic on We're Not Pros is... why Volvo make box of Steam?
It's like trying to create something out of entropy, really. I mean, you can't really make a solid object out of steam, but that's perhaps me being a little too literal.
Especially considering the sheer grammatical inaccuracy of what's going on there. I just want to say I love the Volvo joke. I don't know why I love it. Somebody probably spelled it wrong by mistake, and then it caught on, as with many jokes do on the internet.
There was a gaming magazine who actually did Volvo the car versus Voldo, the Soul Calibur 2 character. But anyways, you know, it's a nice joke. I find it literally annoying when people actually seem to seriously talk about issues with Valve or seriously talk about Valve things and they still call it Volvo. It's like, okay, no, we're angry at Valve right now. Let's be angry at Valve. But anyways, they are making a SteamBox, which is not the piston. The piston was what you call it, a lemon?
It was the Diep of the SteamBox development. For those of you who don't know, Diep was where Canadians messed up, and then the Americans learned the lesson and did a much better job. I learned World War II in history. I want to integrate it from time to time, okay?
Alright. But anyways, you sort of are the foremost enthusiast on this, so break it down.
Me and like 3 other people. No, that's not true. Okay, so why would anybody be excited about something that has worked for a long time, putting themselves into an environment that they're not known for and they're not successful for? Here's the thing. About 10 or so years ago, there was this game that came out by the name of Half-Life 2. And if you wanted to play Half-Life 2, not the orange box came later, but if you wanted to just play Half-Life 2, you had to install Steam. And that was met with negative feedback.
In its defense, when Steam first came out, there were issues. I mean, it was kind of the first major go of that kind of thing. It wasn't really perfect out of the gate. I mean, Steam works really great now with some debate. But
I think we have to come to accept that, save for a few rare masterpieces, most things are problematic on day one. I mean, Half-Life 2 is as good a game as it was going to get, you know, for the most part. But yes, Steam wasn't perfect out of the box, and it wasn't just some technical errors. There were also a lot of people questioning why bother doing this. Is this the step in the right direction? This is annoying. I don't want to log into a service so I can play a game. I'm used to installing the game on its own and then playing the game, and then that's it. Although you could log on to Steam in offline mode, not have to connect to the internet. It didn't change the fact that you have to have Steam to do it.
Yeah.
It's now 2014, and Steam is a gigantic success.
Not only that, but many consoles have attempted to emanate and recreate Steam through their digital distribution service. I mean, we can't forget that we once upon a time, we did have to deal with Games for Windows Live.
Yep.
Thank God that's dead. And there's been a number of I think the only real Steam, I don't really want to call it an imitator that I approve of would be Good Old Games, because it's an online service. You don't have to install a Good Old Games, device box, and they really just specialize in the really old stuff brought up so it can run on Windows 7. So they have a very good niche, and I like them. But beyond that, Steam was, I think, the first major one. There may have been other people making attempts before it, but anyways, 2014, or whenever you future men happen to be watching this, Steam's exploded.
Yeah, and it isn't just a success that makes its consumers feel like they've been cheated. It's a success that has been good to the customers. It's almost all the time, something is on sale. Something that you may have considered buying and playing in the past, but you couldn't do it because either you didn't have a computer that could run it at the time, or you just didn't want to spend the money on it. Well, now it's $5. That's not good enough for you? Well, guess what? In about 6 months now, it's $2. Not even kidding. I bought Brutal Legend on money that I made playing Dota 2.
Yeah, I mean, I bought Deus Ex, Human Revolution, all the DLC, yada yada. I think it came out to $15.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a pretty big game, and nice graphics and all that stuff, and yeah.
You can make an argument that because the sales are so often and so generous that it can devalue a game when it does come out right away.
They have been doing things counter. If you'll remember, what Steam has really started trying to do a lot is those pre-order bars. The more people who pre-order, the more rewards everyone gets, all the way up to BioShock Infinite was giving away XCOM, Enemy Unknown for pre-ordering BioShock Infinite. But I think we're getting away from the box.
We most absolutely got away from the box. Okay, so why am I excited about the SteamBox? Well, first of all, because it's Valve. They are proven. They are one of the few companies left, in my opinion, that I give full benefit of the doubt to.
Electronic Arts, I would like to show you a company that has built itself based on good customer relationships.
Electronic Arts, on the other hand, I give full doubt to. I would have really liked to play Titanfall, but so far I've managed to maintain my boycott of Origin. So the point is, what does Valve put out that hasn't been good?
Software. They've put out software. We're talking about a hardware product now, which
right, but the quality of their work has maintained an extremely high standard, higher than most other companies, many of which have the resources to match, can't do. Yes, obviously some companies still do it, but the Valve sets a glorious example of no matter what it is you're working on, you do a good job on it, and that is how you will be successful in both the short term and the long term. But yes, they are moving into the console territory. So first of all, Valve isn't building the system themselves. A lot of people know that. Not everyone might be familiar with that, so I think that's important to say.
Yeah.
What they are doing is that they're developing an operating system specifically for gaming. And other companies, other manufacturers of computers can instead take that operating system, build a machine around it, and sell that. At different price points. The lowest that we see right now are around $500 to $600, the highest being anywhere between $3,000 to $4,000, which even I'm questioning. That seems like if I can't run several games at once on that thing and use that in, say, in a LAN setting, I couldn't imagine why that would be worth it.
I put my computer together for about $1,000. Well, I mean, I bought my computer in parts and built it myself, so I'm sure I saved some money there. But that's played pretty much everything I've thrown at it. I don't really unless you're trying to render a movie at the same time as playing Crysis 1 on the Alien levels.
Yeah.
Then I don't really know why you need a $3,000 to $4,000 rig.
It's for those who have the money to burn, I guess. Now, why would I want to put this thing in the living room when I've already got it on the desk? I've asked that question like a dozen times already, haven't answered it yet. I, for one, am proud of the fact that I'm a gamer, and I would like to share that pride with my family as well as anybody who comes to pay a visit. So I enjoy being able to play games in the living room on the biggest screen that we have available. And at this point, games look so good that I think anyone who is just walking by is going to stop and they're going to admire what's going on in that. Not every game is visually striking. A lot of games look technically sound but lack artistic vision. But if I have BioShock Infinite running on the television screen, you're gonna want to admire that because that's a beautiful work of art. At least the art is. So, I mean that's my first condition is that I want to move all my gaming into the living room. I don't like sitting in my room alone, feeling disconnected from my family. Secondly, is that I'm trying to look at it from the perspective of Valve is that how are we benefiting from it being in the living room? And one of the first things is that as a major gaming distribution platform, you have the opportunity to sell and promote games that can appeal to pretty much anyone. Not everyone's into BioShock, not everyone's into the Stanley Parable, but there's going to be something there that my dad is going to be interested in. My dad loves Risk. If we put Risk on that thing, he will buy it, he will play it. So from Valve's side, you now have one loyal customer in a household into a potential of however many family members you have. And what's wrong with getting your family to want to play games alongside you?
Okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to point out you actually get along with your family. That's not always the case.
Yes, I am part of the nuclear family. We're not at 0.2.5 kids, but we have a cat. So
Cats are important.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
I don't think there's a game that's going to appeal to my cat, although
I do know you can buy those DVDs, which are just like a squirrel or something running around. I know dogs will just follow that for hours and all that time. All right, so first of all, my main concern is that the PC gaming unto itself is, I'm going to admit, a little bit of an elitist thing, depending who you talk to.
It's absolutely an elitist thing.
There's a
PC
lot of
master race
of gaming. Not. You have to say of gaming because PC does not make you the master race. That's getting into references we don't want to go to places. But it comes with it a general idea of, or a general level higher than your standard game. If one of the things they talked about when they did Unreal Tournament 3 is because they wanted to do console versions, everyone who played Unreal Tournament 2 turned around and said, this is slowed down a lot. That's because in order to appeal to the console crowd, or the established console crowd, you had to slow it down. You had to take a little bit of the twitch out of Twitch gaming and make it... There is a different category of people who play games in their living room with their friends. There is a bit of a... And when you... I built my PC, as I said.
Yeah.
I have a knowledge of how the insides work. If a part of it breaks, I know how to fix it, I know how to replace it, all that stuff. If a part of a console breaks, you pretty much package it up, send it to the company, and hope they replace it.
Yeah.
So, especially if we're going to have computer companies building these SteamBoxes, it's going to come down to the fact that parts are going to break. So, my first question is, are these parts going to be standard compatible PC components? Like, are they going to be composite machines? Are we going to be able to swap out things as we want, install drivers as we want, and do that kind of thing like a PC?
I can't say what each company's decision is for that, but logically the best option would be for these pieces to be accessible to the consumers so that they can upgrade it or fix it as easily as possible.
Yeah, you buy the $500 version, you decide you want to, stop playing FTL and start playing the first BioShock, go out and spend a little bit just to swap out one component.
Yeah, because you have to remember that with consoles by the big three publishers, Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, is that, yes, they do work with ATI or whoever to develop their graphics cards and the technology, but most of it is developed by themselves. So it's not like you can go and you can get pieces that are equivalent to it, but they're not the same developed technology. For example, the PlayStation 3 was using the whole cell thing as their promotion. You can replicate that, but it's still not going to be the same thing as what they made. It's something like, somebody making a really good imitation of a Rolex watch versus what Rolex is making. Now, what these publishers are going to have to accept is that I'm not interested in, say, an Alienware specific piece of technology. I'm interested in a machine that Alienware built that can put everything together and run effectively. But if those pieces do fall apart, I want to know that I can go to, Leroy's computer shop down the street and get what I need.
All right. My second concern is just, if it wants to be gaming peripheral, right? If we look at, as I mentioned, the opening, gaming consoles are getting closer and closer to personal computers. So if we're taking a step backwards, if we're having a computer company get into the gaming market, I feel that what they really should be trying to do is making a gaming exclusive thing. Like at this point, I think Nintendo's the only one really making this is a device primarily for gaming. It does gaming things, and even if you look at the 3DS, it has a lot of social aspects to it. So it's a gaming and kind of a social media.
Well, it's not.
I think you can make an argument for that.
Well, I wouldn't say that it's using social media. Like you don't Facebook on the 3DS all that much because you're not. I mean, you're it's a portable device and you're not always within a Wi-Fi access point. But what it is doing is taking that social interaction element and integrating it into your gameplay. So, for those of you who don't have a 3DS, one of the main components is a Street Pass feature, where if you have it activated and you pass by another person with a 3DS who has that activated, you send data to each other. And that data is comprised of any game that's using Street Pass. So if you both have the new Zelda Link Between Worlds, you're sending shadows of each other's links so that you can battle his shadow and he can battle yours.
Dark Souls.
Yeah. Although in A Link Between Worlds, they don't come out of nowhere and try to kill you. They're more of a stationary piece of code that's waiting for you to come find them.
That's very refreshing compared to the, dear God, I'm almost at the boss. What do you mean you can't resurrect yourself the traditional way?
I don't know. I think I would love for any game to have somebody come in out of nowhere and start trying to mess you up. I would love that. And then it's not also just with the games, but there's also a couple of pieces of software that are just based off Street Pass. You have this plaza where you are receiving little characters called Miis of other people, and they can visit you and they can give you little pieces to puzzles, and you can play little games with them. It's not substantial, but it's nice.
All right, but anyways, the point is that a majority of the consoles seem to be getting further and further away from a dedicated gaming machine.
Yeah.
So if the SteamBox really is going to be just the gaming component of my computer removed with all the word processing, text processing, and internet browsing parts removed.
The other three most important things to a computer besides gaming.
Well, if you don't do your taxes, you usually get fined a lot. But
there's no reason not to. You can get a good return.
Yes. We totally just plugged the Canadian government there.
Well.
But anyways.
There are worse governments.
Clearly, we live next to them.
We're going to pay for that. Sorry, Iceland.
We have the cross line. Okay, no, back on topic. If it's going to be just the gaming component of a computer, then if I even want to look at it, I want the fact that I push the button, it's on, what do you want to play? Mm-hmm. Not, push it on, here's your menu, do you want to go to Netflix? Do you want to browse the store for add-ons? Do you want to, I remember the GameCube, when you started it up, it had a little intro thingy and then took you right to your game. Yeah. If you wanted to do something technical while the intro was playing, you held down the button and then that took you to the menu.
And if you didn't know to do that, then you would take the CD out and then turn it on, and it would default to the menu.
Yeah, but
Bravely Default. I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm just really digging Bravely Default.
Yes, God, I'm glad you like Bravely Default because it's the only thing that stopped you from talking about Breaking Bad. Moving on. Like, I would like a dedicated, like, if they're going to remove the gaming component, it has to be a dedicated gaming machine. And as I mentioned before, I want it to actually have interchangeable parts because when a console breaks, especially in an age where they want you to download games and download additional content, it might be.
I'm sorry, but in so many cases now, you don't even get to play the game right away. There's almost always a content update day one.
Yeah, and well, I mean, at least like I haven't really played the Xbone or anything. Although I don't even have a PS4. I do have a PS3 because I like fighting games and JRPGs.
Yeah.
But like, I'll put the disc in, it installs its stuff, and at least it never has to install it again. But I agree. There's lots of games that'll have updates, balance patches, etc., etc. Just even the idea of a dedicated gaming machine is further. I don't want to say demoralized.
Well, it takes away from the very definition of being a game in the first place.
If it's no longer just self-contained disc.
Yeah.
It's not even,
let's say I went to a game store and I bought Monopoly, and we put it down, and if we don't know how to play, we read the instructions.
Yeah.
If we do know how to play, we just set it up and start playing. That setup time takes what, 5 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, sure, games on consoles are far more complex and deep than a game of Monopoly, but they're still games.
Well, clearly, what we need to do is role play Game of Thrones while playing Monopoly because that makes it deep. But anyways,
I got way too into Settlers of Catan for my own good. But I mean, if a game is supposed to be something for leisure, and unless you're in the competitive scene or you're a Let's Play streamer or you're turning it into a profession in some way, leisure time is precious. You're assuming you have a job or whatever. So the fact is, I do not enjoy having to wait to do something that is supposed to relieve me of stress. So, now, have you noticed that game consoles seem to be less reliable in the long run nowadays than they did older? And I say that because if I went to go buy a Nintendo Entertainment System and I plugged it in, it would work.
Well, as pointed out by several people, Nintendo makes their stuff out of Nintendite, which appears to be incredibly durable. It's
somewhere between gold and platinum. We're not sure where.
You do know gold is very malleable, right?
God, can you just... God, it's okay, it's fine.
But I've seen people's...
You and your facts.
I've seen people's Wiis get dropped, and they still pick them up, and they still work perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Like, it's a matter of...
For the first 6 months when they had the really, really thin safety cord that you would wrap around, people would throw it by accident, and in every case, a Wiimote versus other object, the other object would lose.
Yeah, but anyways, the point is they're very durable. They're made out of durable things.
And it's not just the Nintendo consoles. An Xbox still works if you find one of those. PS1s and PS2s still work if you find those.
My PS2, there was a component which needed to be replaced, but beyond that single component, everything else was still perfectly fine.
Yeah, but since then, I mean, the PlayStation 3s, almost everyone I know personally, I can't speak to the global scale, but yeah, they're all have either had to have it replaced, had to buy a second or a third even, or it just crapped out on them for no good reason, overheated because it's put somewhere compact. Like, honestly, one of my friends' PlayStation 3s, he's got all the systems and a gaming PC. He barely uses it, and we just sat down one time to play the one with the Sackboys. I can't remember the name of it.
Little Big Planet.
Little Big Planet 2, and then it just decided to stop working all of a sudden.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, mine's been running okay.
Which brings me back to the SteamBox, is that for me, money and I don't get along very well, which is to say I don't have much of it.
I would also like to say, before we completely and totally leave that last topic, Red Ring of Death.
Yep. Iconic
Yeah.
for how often it comes up. That it's not a good icon, guys. For me, long-term value is important. It's why I noticed that whenever I buy clothing made in China, it kind of sort of starts fading color after crouching on the knee once or twice. I noticed that if I buy third-party peripherals that aren't made to a certain standard of quality, they don't last as long. And it's unfortunate because you're thinking about people who have lower income brackets. They don't have the money to invest in the best quality product, and so they're actually stuck in a loop where they keep having to buy cheaper things and then have those cheaper things break out on them. So these people deserve to relax just like everybody else. So you would hope that whatever gaming system, whatever piece of entertainment or luxury or leisure that they invest their money into, it's going to last. So with the SteamBox, if it goes according to plan, you're investing in a system that is going to last the longest of terms. This is a machine that, because it's built for a specific purpose and is optimized for that purpose and is only used for that purpose, as opposed to like a phone that's used for pretty much everything now, you can hope to expect 10, 15, maybe 20 years out of this investment.
Okay. When you say investment, I presume you're meaning like the Steam accounts, because if you're talking about a physical device.
Well, when I say investment, I immediately mean the handing over of wealth to receive something in return. You're not investing in a stock market, but you are still investing in a company, and you're expecting a certain semblance of quality.
Because going all the way back to the beginning again, you even mentioned that there's going to be different companies making each individual box. So this does mean, to an extent, Valve, the company we trust, the company that we're putting our faith in, etc., they aren't quality controlling each individual box. They're only handling the software side, which again we sort of trust them with. But it comes down to now it's in the hands of Razer and okay, see, Razer's the only one I can remember because that one was on a banner in the internationals, and I'm not saying anything nice about them right now, so that's not exactly good publicity on your part, guys. Maybe you should stop sponsoring Dota teams. But anyways, the point is we're trusting different company, Diamond, that's another one, to create these devices, and we're not 100% sure about that. I mean, Razer still makes a wireless mouse. I mean, I'm sorry, wireless mice in Twitch gaming, you're dead.
And it's a wireless mouse.
You don't Twitch game.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
I'll accept that.
Anyways, so we're not even talking about Valve making the physical products anymore. We're talking about a handful of different companies, and similar to a Macintosh computer, which will only accept specifically made for Mac things.
Yeah.
I really want to see the guarantee going back that I can take an ATI graphics card and put it in this thing.
Right.
Because otherwise, like my computer, I don't think anything in it has really lasted. Like, it's only 8 years old, and I've had to replace a few parts that break. But after 8 years, like actually probably 9 years by now, it's kind of acceptable that 1 or 2 parts aren't going to work like they used to. So you're saying an investment in 10 years. I just want a bit of a clarity, because I'm telling you, as a physical product, as a physical SteamBox, I don't think it's really going to guarantee last 10 years. There's a good chance that 7, 8, 9 years down the road, something in it is going to break. So if you're, again, saying SteamBox is the best gaming investment, I want a better clarity on what investment means.
I think that's perfectly fair.
If you say like a Steam account is a great investment, which technically it really is, that is something that works on computers, and you can essentially be replacing Steam boxes every 2 years, and the account itself isn't affected. I mean, you'd be killing your internet connection, having to re-download everything. But so well,
to answer that question, one thing that I think I need to bring up is what I would consider to be a poor investment, and not to throw anyone under the bus, but
Origin.
I had an iPhone, and it crapped out on me after 2 years, and in that time, several iterations of not just the iPhones, but of the other portable devices had come out since. There are some developers out in Europe who are trying to work on modular phones. The idea.
Kudos to them. That sounds like a fantastic idea.
Yeah. For those of you who want a little clarification, what a modular phone is, this is something that you can swap out parts that you would like to upgrade for parts that are superior. What do we mean by parts? Well, it could be a camera. It could be a new video chip. It could be a screen.
Or it could be something as simple as after several years or so, your battery just can't hold the charge like it used to. So, here's an entirely new battery at the store, which you have to admit, you don't see that a lot of times. You usually have to send it in, have them diagnose the problem, say it's the battery, and send it all back.
But instead, what you are seeing is, it's a term, I didn't make this up, it's a term called planned obsolescence, where you get these phones and they're not expecting it to last you for more than 3 to 5 years, either because the battery dies and most people don't know how to get their hands on a replacement battery for cheap, or because you're drawn to the new technology because it's a vast improvement or slight improvement, just marketed as a vast improvement, or
we're pretty much talking Apple's entire catalog.
Yeah, or it's just so far beyond repair, or it's broken, or whatever, or it's stolen because it's in high demand, and if there's anything that gets stolen more than anything else, it's Apple products. So those are all ways that would keep something from lasting long term.
Not to mention, just in terms of especially the cell phone argument, it should be noticed that lithium continues to die even if isn't being used as a power source. So all you have to do is create a phone with a lithium battery, which lithium is pretty powerful when you think about it, and then discontinue that model. When 3 years down the line, your battery's dead, you need a new battery, that model's been discontinued. Any batteries made for it were made several years ago, and like the one on your phone, aren't working anymore. So again, you need to now upgrade because you can't find that particular component because it just doesn't exist anymore.
Exactly. So a PC by default, I didn't say bravely, although I would have wanted to.
And you just pointed it out.
I'm just saying, I'm keeping track. By default is a modular device. You can swap out parts. What you will notice is that an older PC will no longer integrate certain pieces that are new. So, and this is something that I don't know because the Steam boxes aren't even out on the market yet, but the hope is even within the span of 10 years, there will still be devices and there will still be replacement pieces for those small fixes and those necessary upgrades. But the major machine will continue to operate and will continue to understand what it is you're trying to do to fix it.
But I guess that goes back to my concern and question before. Are these going to, like, if we go to a store, am I going to see an ATI Radeon HD card for a computer and then the same ATI HD Radeon card for the SteamBox?
Yeah.
Or is the SteamBox one going to be the computer one? Because I really don't see places like Tiger Direct investing an entire new shelf just to SteamBox
right,
parts.
But I mean, we're talking about Steam here. We're talking about the largest digital distribution of games in the industry. This is a step forward, which means there's going to be less of a physical presence and more of work being done online. It may not be that I can go to the store and find the pieces, but I don't see any reason why I couldn't find the replacement piece online and have it mailed to me with the instructions on how to do it.
But I guess that again goes back to one of the earlier problems in it, that if you try to shove something by Diamond into a product made or into a SteamBox made by Razer, because Diamond had to be having a sale or something like that, is it going to recognize it, or is it going to say used game must burn?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the issue. But again, this comes back to my initial point: is that I'm still giving Valve benefit of the doubt. Is that as long as they're keeping track of who's doing what, then there shouldn't be any miscommunication where you end up with the part that doesn't work. It's going to be to the consumer to do the research and figure out what company is their best bet to support. I can say with some certainty that not everyone is going to succeed on their Steam boxes.
Yeah.
It's a competition, and some are going to succeed and some are going to fail. And
some are going to cut too many corners to sell a cheaper product.
Yeah, exactly. So, and in that regard, you can almost see why maybe the more expensive versions are going to be the stronger investment down the line.
I don't know. Well, my personal thought just on the SteamBox comes back to the fact that as a PC gamer, I've invested time, effort, and time, effort, and money, I guess, into making sure that my PC is powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It's, not cutting edge technology, but, let's face it, we all don't need 8000 series graphics cards in our computer. My 7000 series just does its job, and what, the 5000 series it originally did its job for a very long time.
And it was predicted by Satoru Iwata, I want to say, that at a certain point, gaming technology is going to reach a saturation point where you're just not going to see as substantial a jump in the graphics technology.
I think if we're not there, we're at least circling it.
Yeah, I mean, there are certainly noticeable improvements between a PlayStation 4 game and a PlayStation 3 game. You can do the side-by-sides, and you can see the differences, but most of these are technological differences. Artistically, it's pretty much the same vision, versus you want to compare like a Super Nintendo Zelda versus Nintendo 64, you're not just seeing a jump in technology, you're seeing a jump in what these games can accomplish. Running around in a 3D environment versus running around in a top-down environment was huge. Absolutely huge.
I can imagine.
And that jump forward, I think, is going to be so much more difficult to achieve, because what kind of game is this going to be, and can it even be made?
Well, that's, I think, why there's this huge heavy investment in motion gaming. It's like, let's motion game everything, because I don't know. I mean, it's also, the X-Bone with Dead Rising had that thing where you could actually use your cell phone, phone a number, and get an airstrike in on the game you're playing, which I wouldn't really call it emergent gameplay. I would call it, why can't I just do there?
Yeah. It was a gimmick.
It really...
I try not to use that word, but it was a gimmick.
Yeah. I guess the point I was trying to make is, I am a PC gamer. I built my PC to be a beast. Ergo, it is a beast. I don't really feel like I have any desire to invest in the SteamBox, because I essentially have that already integrated in a computer that's, again, I've put a lot of time and effort into. So it would probably appeal to other, like, you also have a decent gaming PC, and most people I know who really consider themselves to be PC gamers have invested in making sure their rigs are powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to be selling a SteamBox, you're really going to be selling it to people who essentially aren't PC gamers or aren't really hardcore PC gamers, but then you come back to the modular nature, and it becomes, like, when you slap a new number on a console, it's very clear that it's powerful enough. Mm-hmm. You could have a powerful enough graphics card in your SteamBox, but not realize that the processor is lacking. So that's why the game isn't working, because your processor is old, but your graphics card is new, or maybe the sound card's burning. Like, I understand there's components in my PC. You understand there's components in your PC.
Yeah.
Console gamers send their consoles back to the store when they don't work, and that's fine, because you can't open up an Xbox and fix it. But a SteamBox, you would be able to open up and fix it, and I just don't feel that non-PC gamers are going to understand that.
Yeah, I just realized how much EB Game employees probably have to deal with the whole, my Xbox broke, what do I do situation. I feel so bad for them now.
Yeah, except they're making ridiculous amounts of money selling games.
I don't know about that.
Well, yeah, that's kind of management.
Yeah,
okay,
you would like to think that, but
I redact the point.
Okay. If you're done stating that, what I'm going to say is that I'm a PC. Well, I'm not a dedicated PC gamer. I'm kind of a big Nintendo fan as well. I am more of a reluctant PC gamer. I love the games on the PC. I love that if I want to invest some of my own time into personalizing the game, I can. I love the idea of mods. I love the idea of add-ons. I love the multiplayer side, because I think ultimately PC gaming has done multiplayer better than consoles can do.
It's free. I mean, when PC gaming or PC online gaming first started, it was free with exceptions of being MMORPGs.
Yeah, but even with a subscription fee, if you don't feel like you're getting your money's worth, then stop playing. But I subscribed to World of Warcraft for a year, and I don't regret doing it, because there was so much time spent playing that thing.
Well, the point is, if you look at systems like Microsoft, where you're paying a flat fee just to maintain your account online, even if you don't have to do anything online this month, and then there's apparently the horrible customer service they have, and all that stuff. So
I would like to see a billing by the second model for MMOs, where you only pay for the time you play.
Or maybe you would buy like you pay for the month, and then whatever time you don't use up is discounted for or given to you next month, or will count.
That's basically the same thing.
Yeah, well, I guess when you said
you're paying for time, but if you don't use the time, you get it back afterwards.
Okay, when you said yours, I was kind of thinking just as you're playing, they're billing your credit card.
It sounds like you can add up very quickly.
Yeah, it's like, aha, the amazing sword, Crushimus Prime is ready for it. I'm sorry, your credit card is maxed out. No.
Yeah. But if you want to work it off, then you can wash dishes or something on your character. Anyways, I don't know. I could have done better with that. Anyways, so I just don't know PCs well enough to be able to handle a lot of it on my own, as much as I hate to admit that. And so for me to be able to take all that, PC gaming stuff, put it into a machine designed for it, to me, it's the next thing that I'm going to be investing in. It means that I'm spending less time on my computer, and I'm straining it less because I'm using it less. Just by having it on, there's pieces moving on the inside. There's no stopping the fact that eventually it is going to die out. So you can get more out of your machines by straining them less. The computer, not gaming, but is still doing other things like tax filing and Minesweeper, which isn't a game so much as an admittance that I've run out of things to do. I think we're good. Any last words?
Well, I guess just, again, I'm looking... Going back to the whole idea of taking
Okay, so we're not good.
Getting back to the whole idea of taking it out of the PC, it seems to be this weird reverse evolution technology. If you look at the cell phone, it started as a cell phone, then we added music playing to it, then we added camera to it, then we added all these features, and now it does none of them really well. I mean, let's face it, a camera on a cell phone is pretty much never going to be as good as an actual, decent you invested in camera.
That said, they do take decent photos.
Okay, they've been getting better.
Yeah.
So it seems that we're now taking the PC, something which is known and was designed from scratch to do all of these things, and now we're starting to break it down into its components. I mean, I understand we have the laptop, which is the portable version of the PC. We have the tablet, which is pretty much Little Truck's my first PC.
Tablet is a luxury device.
Yeah. We've got the smartphones, which completely consume everyone's time, energy, and whatever, and turn them into zombies. And now it seems like, I don't really want to say a nail in the coffin, because I don't think the tower PC is ever going to go away. Become less popular, yes, but I don't think it's ever going to go away, because it remains the most powerful incarnation of a personal computer. But to now remove the gaming from it, it feels a little bit it feels like the reverse of the cell phone. We're taking something that was designed to do so many things so well, and just taking it all into little pieces.
Okay, it's not like it's being fragmented into 18 different avenues. We're taking the gaming out of it, and we're putting it into a machine designed specifically for it. If we're talking about, as efficient as possible, which I think PC gamers recognize, then isn't there an advantage to a machine that is designed specifically to be that effective at it?
As I said, I don't really feel like I'm the target audience for SteamBox. I have a gaming computer. It works nicely, so...
Yeah. I have it too, which means that I probably wouldn't buy a SteamBox until that PC was no longer working, and I just wanted to... Which is going to be quite a while, but which is good, because I think the SteamBox's major challenge is going to be those first few years, trying to solidify what it is that they do. But the only thing that I can come back to is that if there were any other company that were doing it, or that were leading the charge, yeah, I'd be way more skeptical, but it's Valve.
Eh. Although I would argue it would be nice if Valve is getting into the console war. We don't need this many people, so as a personal message to Microsoft, if you could please go the way of Sega and just switch entirely to software, I think it would be a far healthier community.
Yeah, and I'd like to see Nintendo start integrating more of those former publishers into Nintendo itself. Take the talent from Sega, take the talent from Capcom and Namco, whoever they can get their hands on, and just build one massive company. I would really like to see that.
That actually that'd be nice. Being that I've liked several things that Capcom's done in the past, if they were to, exclusively switch to Nintendo instead of scattering themselves all over the place, that probably would be a little more attractive.
Yeah. One other point that I didn't bring up, but I think it's important to mention, is that these things aren't designed to discourage modding or hacking. They've stated that it's moddable, and you really shouldn't say it's hackable, but it is hackable. You can turn this machine into an all-purpose device if you wanted to. So, and I think that ties into, for me, which is the major takeaway if somebody's on the fence, is that I don't think anyone else is going to be able to sell you on this. You alone would have to figure out how you're going to make it work, and if it's going to be worth it for you.
Which may in fact be the best ad campaign of all, like an easier gaming PC as opposed to buy the X-Bone, best thing out there.
Mm-hmm. Is it really the best thing out there?
God, no.
No? Okay. I was going to say, because if it's the best thing out there,
Have you even heard of anything on the X-Bone besides Titanfall and the new Halo?
What? Just Dance, where you dance, and then
You're making yourself look like an idiot.
No, I'm not making myself look like an idiot, because I got the boogie fever, and I want to buy a game where okay.
I think we're done. In retrospect, I didn't mean to pick on you that much. I'm sorry.
That's being picked on. It's fine. I've been. You're the one that's gonna regret not getting Just Dance. I'm just saying. Because when the time comes to break down on the dance floor, and you're gonna regret not knowing like 8 moves.
Well, you mean the thumbs and the dice tossing and
The going shopping and the fishing rod.